Hello, my dudes. How is everybody? Doing some little experiments here, some little technical experiments to see what I can do to up the production of the show. I notice Nick Hill says, "Bunn, you're late." Well, I was, fussing with this intro thing, trying to make all that work, trying to coordinate it. But I'm here, and you're all here. Thank you very much. Rough Riffs, noticing the beginning jam and splash screen. It's just an experiment today. Hopefully we can produce something really interesting going into the future. Stoked that you noticed it, or stoked on it. Hope you're well. So I just want to say hello to Kevin, Tom, Nick, Rough Riffs, Mr. A, how are you? Beard Guy, good to see you. Why is Aiden? What if there was a 40-inch baritone guitar? I'd probably own it. Gunky Zip, good to see you, man. Thanks for the big return. Anthony Nito, Cosman, Ramco. Yeah. Hope you guys are all well. As you guys always know, hopefully you know by now, but if you don't, you can chat amongst each other. Ike, good to see you. How are you, man? How was your week? For those of you who don't know, you can go like, at symbol, and who will go, why is Aiden? So you start typing a username. The username will pop up. You click on it. It'll fill it in at why is Aiden. Hello. And you can chat amongst each other in the stream. Very cool. Very, very cool. It happens all the time. You don't have to worry about paying attention to my rambling, because I'm going to ramble no matter what. Kendall, welcome to the stream. I hope you're well. But Danny, good to see you in the stream. I hope all is well with you. But yes, hello, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be on this wonderful globe of world. I hope that your week was full of riffs, and and that there were a few good riffs in there. I had a few good riffs this week, for sure. I'm writing some new foreign stuff. For a bunch of reasons, to release as a single, but also to use in a video and all that good stuff. I'd like to take a second before we get into today's topic to thank everyone with me over at Patreon and YouTube memberships. If you're new to the whole world and you want to help the Bunn out, you can do that on a recurring kind of basis. This is the Patreon link in the comments. This is the YouTube members link in the comments. No pressure. If you're looking to come along for the ride, this is going to be my very first week as nothing but a solo creator. I'm not training anyone at my old job anymore or anything like that. I'm 100% free agent. It's not a cash grab or anything, but I got to let people know that this is what's going on. So Keith Body. Hola. So that second link there is to YouTube memberships. If you feel so inclined, you can come along for the ride. You can cancel at any time. If you only want to do it for a month, let's say, it's not like you're locked in. And if you don't worry, like I won't feel bad, or don't feel bad if you're like, oh, I can only do it for a month and I'm out. Not a problem. Any which way that folks are into helping out, that's fantastic. Also, there's the stickers. People are very generous with the stickers on all the streams, and it has been helping a great deal in terms of this big transition from, a day job to a full-time musician, full-time YouTube guy, which means we should probably see way more fully produced video content, as well as way more music being released over the coming months. Fingers crossed that that's the truth. It's good to see all of your faces in the stream. A few more here. Thak, good to see you. Who am I missing? Mr. A, hope you are well. Oh, I already said hello to you. Well, if I repeat myself, apologies. Kendall, good to see you. Remco, good to see you. Hope all of you guys are well. Remco mentions the Revolta. I want one. I want one bad. There's only 3 guitars that I want at all, and that is a Revolta Baritone, a Hagstrom Viking. I had a Viking for like a day or for a second. But anyway, Hagstrom Viking Baritone, a Revolta Mondetta Baritone, and whatchamacallit, a longer scale side jack baritone, like tricked out side jack, not a stock one, like tricked out. But that's all I got left on my list, and then I'm done. And then I'll go custom. You know, I'll start doing some weirdo conversions, which I've been musing on lately. Cosman, thank you very much for the help out there. Highly appreciated. Hope you are well. Self-inflatable. What are you doing here? For those of you, for those of you who are kind of new to the party, Self-Inflatable is actually involved in more of the Bunn stuff than you will ever know. I won't give up all the details because I don't know how comfortable he is with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm stoked to see you here. Self-Inflatable, as always. Love you, brother. John Toth, good to see you. John Toth III, let's be real. Like, you are the third one of all the John Toths, and probably the greatest, most powerful one with the biggest muscles. Coke bottle headstock piano. That's right. Yeah, that is definitely on the list. So I guess 4 guitars. Coke bottle headstock piano with a few Bunn appointments. A tricked outside jack, longer scale, 28-inch scale. Hopefully I can find one. Because a lot of them come at 27.5, as some of you know. And yeah, the Revolta and the Hagstrom. And then I'm done with regular baritones. But Self-Inflatable is a lover of all things. He loves, I don't know, spaghetti and, I don't know, Corvette muscle cars. And Thomas Powell, good to see you in the stream. Hope all is well. Danny, quick question here off the top. I recently finished converting my Epiphone EB0. Oh my God, you did that? You have one? That's amazing. Into a 6-string baritone. I'll post pics on the Discord someday. Yeah, please do. I'm not going to get into it, but that's something like that is sort of in motion in the Bunn world. Not quite that, but that idea is sort of what inspired it. But anyhow, we're going to get into today's topic, and, you know, I'm sure you guys are pretty well aware of the YouTube universe and kind of, you know, comments and messages and all that kind of stuff. And like, I got quite a few comments and messages, and a lot of them are the what should I use question, or what's the best, or what is better type questions, a lot of which having to do with guitars. So which is the best baritone? Which baritone should I get? All that kind of stuff. And that's, as I think a lot of people with a lot of practical experience would imagine, that's a difficult thing to answer. But if you're new to the game, it's a 100% valid comment or a valid concern. Like, if you've never even played a baritone at all and you're like, it's a big mystery to a lot of people. And it was a big mystery to me right off the top. I didn't really know that. I just heard the word baritone and that this guy said I need one for what I want to do. And I'm like, great. So I just thought something that was called the baritone was going to solve all my problems. And lo and behold, like, I don't know, 800 guitars later. Game, it's a confusing thing. So we're going to go through some of the guitars that I have here and why I have them, what I use them for, why I have them. And you know, it's going to be kind of a conversation as to, you know, if you're curious about anything about them. I may be able to answer everything. I may not be able to answer everything, but the whole thing here is a conversation. So we're going to kick it off. We're going to kick it off with a guitar that is newer to me. And this one here is the, my lighting is not great for this, but it is a Viper 400B baritone. It still has the EMGs in it. It is a 27-inch scale guitar, and I got it from a pal, Peacefire. And Peacefire, we kind of have yet to work it out, but we're working out a thing where I'm probably going to do some production for him. He's opening a studio, but obviously COVID has put a delay on everything. If not, maybe I'll just buy it out. We'll see what happens. But why do I have this guitar? What do I like about this guitar, and why do I have it, and how that might be useful for you in your own considerations? It's a 27-inch baritone. It is pretty short for, you know, the super low stuff. And a lot of people are really hopeful that it's going to be adequate. And it depends how discerning you are, and how, you know, if you're playing wide intervals, high up the neck, pedaling off of the low string, and you want to go super low, it's maybe not the best choice guitar. But if you're just going down to like A, maybe G, it's totally fine. I have it for A, and I'm really psyched on it for Vens stuff. For those of you who don't know, I have a project called Vens, and Vens is like a fast, you know, fast jams. Let's see here. Can we do it quickly? Yeah, we can. But it's fast jams like blast beats and double kicks. I usually don't do anything with double kicks, but Vens is all double kicks. And whatchamacallit, I'm going to drop the link in here if anybody's like curious to know what the heck I'm talking about. But the whole thing is in A, in the key of A, and it's fast and whatever. But I don't want to tune my foreigns guitars, which are in G, up and down. Those are in G. The foreign stuff is in A. And the foreigns, or the Ven stuff, it doesn't need to be 28 inches in scale for the, you know, for A tuning. Is it better? Yeah, probably, but it's nice sounding guitar. It's it's a great sounding guitar, and I have it for going down to A. This is in A standard, and it tunes and intonates beautifully in A standard, much better than, yes, you can tune a regular RG or a regular Telecaster or whatever to A standard, and it mostly works. But this, you do it effortlessly. The intonation is non-issue, and the tension is nice and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I have this guitar. So if you're doing A and you want the guitar to perform better and hold tuning better and have a better feel on the tension, 27-inch scale is great. And, you know, the Viper baritone just happens to be one of the sexiest looking body shapes ever. It's like an offset SG. It's the most perfect unison of things. Not that looks makes the guitar technically better, but I don't know. I'm stoked on things that look stoked. And I'm sure many of you are. A couple more of you in the stream. I like Chips and Salsa. How are you? Ian Gorey, how are you, man? I have the cheaper version of that Viper. Had to replace the tuners since they were awful. Yeah, but they're pretty good though, Ian. Like the two, is it the 200B? Viper 200B? Because that's a pretty nice guitar. And yeah, you might have to fix a few things on it, but nothing major, which is amazing. So you can get essentially the same guitar for quite a bit less money. I like chips and salsa. How are you? Apoplexia, how are you? Hope all is well on this beautiful Friday night. How's Marial? Oswal? Barry Prosser, how are you? Thomas Powell, my man. Venz is my relaxed tunes. Yeah, it's like all chill. You know how there's that no chill movement? Venz is all chill, like pure lounge core. Kendall, Ike, replace pickup. Am I missing anyone? Darren, how are you? I hope all is well. Tim Wheeler, sick. Good to see you, brother. Baritone Cult. Good evening, brother. Hope all is well. Baritone Cult, another baritone channel for those of you who don't know. Also, my brother Nick Hill is in the stream. Nick Hill makes music, YouTube, incredible. If you want to know how to get tones, kind of like the tones that I'm using. I made this tone, but Nick Hill makes even better tones because I'm using the Helix. If anyone's wondering, where are those tones coming from? Coming from the Helix. Stomp. All right. So we're going to move along. 2 guitars. I tuned all these guitars, but some of them, when they are in a relaxed state, laying down especially, they kind of go out a little bit. So if a guitar is out, I apologize. Not really. I don't really apologize. William, hope you are well. Happy Friday. I don't know. It might not be Friday. It might be Saturday morning where you are. I'm not too sure. But if it's Friday, happy Friday. If it's Saturday, happy Saturday. But second guitar on the list. Why I have it, what it's all about, what I like about it, what of those things might be of use to you, looking for baritones or whatever. Keep in mind, you guys can sort of ask questions about the guitars, and the chat moves pretty quick, so I might miss stuff. So don't feel bad about asking again a little bit later on. Like if you notice that my attention is on the stream and I missed something that maybe is important, you can bring it up again and hopefully I will get it. But there's a lot of comments and it moves rather quickly. So bear with me. I'm just one guy. And it's Friday night and I'm partying. I'm partying with Liquid Death. Murdering my thirst all night. Oh, my thirst is murdered. I'm gonna murder it some more. Not sponsored, seeking sponsorship. That's what dead strings sound like, by the way. Still sounds okay, but I'm not changing the tones for any guitars. We're going to use the exact same tone for every single guitar. It's a foreigns tone that I'm working on for new foreigns jams. It's a little bit gnarlier than the typical foreigns clinical, I don't know, modern metal sound. But the Mashak, the Mike Mashak, this is the first generation Mashak. There were many sort of, many years of this guitar. I think it's 2000. I'm going to say 2009. I can't remember. It is J09, 2009. Made in Korea by World Instruments. This is World Instruments. I don't know if they changed. I think they have maintained the same factory the whole time. Not exactly sure, but that seems to be the case. Anyhow, this is one of the first iterations Mashaks. My pal in the stream, Thomas Powell, also had one of these, I think from the same year. He had outfit his with Lundgrens because he's a smart guy, and I put instead Invaders in mine because I thought I was smart. It's so dark and muddy. It has a sound though. Anyhow, why do I have this guitar? At the time, there were a few longer baritones to find on the market. Production, regular, everyday, like go to the store and buy one. There were some others like the Ernie Ball Silhouette. It was and is still very expensive. I should have bought it then though. It was $900 then. Now Canadian, it's like $1,700 or $1,800. I thought $900 was so much. This was $600 and I just bought it outright. It's when the Canadian dollar was like really high though. It was like $1.20 American. But anyhow, why do I have this? Because it was one of the few baritones available at the time that was longer than 27. The very first baritone I had ever had in my life was the 400B ESP. Not that one, not the one that we started the show out with, but one of the original ones from the very, very first iterations of the ESP LTD baritone range. So I had one of those and I really loved it, but I don't know, life happened and I parted with it and yeah, here we are. And eventually, you know, when I wanted to go super low, it just didn't do the super low really well. So this was longer. I was like, maybe that can do it. Maybe this can do G way better. And yes, it does G way better. That is true. Does it do G amazing? I don't think it does. You know, it helps if the high string's in tune. Oh, right. So that's the other thing. This guitar, now that I have other guitars for foreigns, this guitar is for Vens and it's default. It's always in A. It's in A right now. All the guitars that you're going to hear tonight are in standard tuning. So A standard, G standard, low, E1 standard, etc. But this guitar does A like unbelievably well. So well. And it's just much more lively in A than it is in G. And I use it for the I barely remember that. But I use it for Vens, and I'm working on new Vens stuff now. But so yeah, I use this guitar primarily in A tuning, and sometimes I tune it to G, but it's very rare, and I don't like it in G. Some people are like, it's fine for me in G. And if it is, that's great. But if you're discerning, I don't think it's the right guitar for going lower than A. I don't think it's a great guitar for going lower than A. It does G okay, but okay isn't great. But anyway, that's what's going on with this guitar. A note about the Mashocks. I have another one here from my friend Anthony that I'm doing a video on the two guitars comparison, and I'm doing a pickup change in that one. And I'm just doing a video about the whole thing, and it's taking a while, but so there's a video coming out, like an official video about Mashocks in general, and maybe the differences between years and, you know, what the stock pickups sound like compared to a couple other pickup swaps. You know, if you go for Invaders, you're guaranteed hot fire mud. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, anyway, Mashocks, fabulously made guitars. If I had to say anything about it, they are manufactured so well for a low cost. They're not on the market anymore. Now it's the SE. SE is comparable though. Very, very similar. And the quality is there. PRS quality. So that's what's going on there. Let's see if... wish the HX Edit had the tuber on the screen. Yeah, I'm not gonna. One day we'll do a Helix video, but yeah, cause man, no Helix on screen today, but we will do that in the future. What's going on? My second stream. Oh, William. Wow. Welcome to your second stream of the night. I hope you enjoy it. Bunn, temperature messes with tuning so much, even the hands. Yeah, for sure. I noticed it earlier today. I had the window open for a moment because it smelled like a 50-year-old man in a small room, which is exactly what this room is. I'm a little shy of 50, but anyway. So yeah, it smelled a little funny. Opened up the window. I'm like, get these old man farts out of here. And lo and behold, the brief amount of outside, cold air difference through the guitars that I was working with, completely out of tune. It doesn't take much. Evertune Bridge helps that a lot, but yeah, very, very, very finicky. Some guitars are better than others. If you get a EGC, an aluminum neck guitar, they're pretty solid. What do we got? Bunn is a 6-string dude. What's going on here? How did that come up? Dustin, I can't see where that part is coming from, but yes, if anybody's wondering, it's like, where's the 7 and 8 strings? I don't play 7s or 8s. The channel is all about 6-string baritones specifically. I have nothing against 7 strings or anything like that. I have no personal interest in using them or playing them or talking about them. Like, I'm not going to talk about something that I don't like personally, because I would do a disservice to the product. So yeah, if you love 7s and 8s, you should play 7s and 8s because they're amazing. If they're amazing to you. Partying with a LaCroix, Brody Cox. Yeah, LaCroix is tasty when I can't get the liquid death flowing. When, it's not the same murder of the thirst. It's more of a quench than a murder. I'm definitely a murder of the thirst kind of guy. But LaCroix, which is the crow. For those of you who do not speak French, LaCroix is the crow. Soda water, which is pretty badass. Anyway, we're going to get on to another guitar here. What is going on? Gunky Zip just got his PRS 277 in December, still in Korea. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're never going to move from Korea because PRS has like really great standards. And the price on the 277s is still really good. Like here in Canada, I think it's still $900 and some dollars. It's not like so many guitars. The RGIB 6 or a RGIB 21, that was like a $1,300 guitar here. And it hurt a lot to get it. And yeah, I bought my RGIB 6 for $650. Brand new from the store. So yeah, no, not $650, $750. Sorry. Yeah, it was $750 plus taxes, like 8 something. But yeah, there's still, the 277 is still pretty affordable here. Some places are better price than others, but yeah, amazing. Thak, fellow Canadian. Yeah, man. Where are you at, Thak? I'd like to know. Ike is saying he was going to put invaders in his Meshuggah. You should. One great way to get to know how a pickup responds and how it actually sounds, if you can afford it, and if you're decent with soldering, so you don't have to pay a tech every time, if you can just swap them in and out, because you can sell it, right? Put it up on Reverb, buy it, try and find a used one on Reverb or a used one locally, grab it, put it in, see what it sounds like, take it out if you hate it. I know people who love the Invader pickups. It depends what you're doing. Like if you're going for a really dark, fiery kind of thing, it's a decent pickup. And my Vens EP is all that. It's all the Mashak with the Invaders. And it sounds pretty badass. Sounds pretty ferocious. And Self-Inflatable is saying that I have the Mashak because I yearned for a Silverburst. Serious yearning. Like, what does yearning sound like? It's probably pretty bad. But yeah, I do not like the Silverburst. I am not. Anybody who has been around for just a little bit knows that the Bunn is black, white, or natural guitars. No bursts, no flames, no nothing. No, none of this tie-dye stuff that is so popular these days. There's nothing in my life that is insane like that, and I just don't want guitars like that. But the Silverburst, a lot of people love it. It's a pretty simple finish. I'm not into it. One day maybe I'll spray paint it and it'll be great. Doesn't really matter that much to me. I'm not gigging with it, so who cares? I have the Viper to gig with for Vens, if Vens ever gigs. Which tuning on the first two guitars were both in A standard. We have not gone beyond A standard yet. I seem to be missing some funding here. What do you call those? Stickers? I think they're stickers or supers, something like that. I can see the notifications, but I can't see the details. So I would just want to say hello and thank you to all of ya. Kevin O'Brien, what tuning and scale would you go for a 12-6 baritone double neck acoustic? A 12-6 baritone double neck acoustic. What tuning and scale? My favorite tuning for baritone is G. That's just kind of where I get the biggest buzz. I find it plays nice. It has like some clarity in it. Like it's easy to get it clear, but you can also still match a bass an octave down without a great deal of problems. It is a challenge, but you can do it. So yeah, G is where it's at. For the 12 string, yeah, I don't know. I should get Dudecraft to build this exact guitar. It wouldn't be an acoustic though. It would be a semi-hollow. Which is acoustic. Semi-hollow, tele thin line, double neck, 12-6 in G. Mashak himself mostly tunes his lowest string to G sharp, sometimes even goes down to F sharp. Yeah, I know this. If you're just going for the brutals, a lot of you guys already know this, but for those of you who don't know it, if you're just going for the brutals and you're just playing like lower on the fretboard type riffs, and you're not doing the pedal off the low string past the 12th, you're not playing wide intervals past the 12th, or sustained notes on the low string up around the 12th, like up the fretboard, you can go pretty low on a 27. You know, you go down to, you could probably drop it to E, like E1 standard, or not E1 standard, but the low string to E, and it work. If you're playing like the first 3 or 5 frets on the low string, not really an issue. It depends what your needs are in terms of going low and being able to identify that. A lot of people are like, oh, I do this. I'm like, yeah, but you only play the first 3 frets. So who cares? It doesn't matter. And I'm not digging into it. It's just like being like real talk, you know, it just, it's going to work a lot easier if you're using a small amount of the low string. You could be using a lot of the other part of the guitar, but if you're only using a small part of the low string near the end, you can get away with a lot. You can tune that guitar down really, really low, and it's not going to be that big of an issue. But we're going to move along to another guitar. Oh, I see another jam here. Mansfield. Thank you from Baritone Cult. I appreciate it. 1999. I like it. I like it. Brother, you're so good to me. I don't even know what to say. And of course, I need to return the favor. If you guys like baritone guitars, Baritone Cult YouTube channel, very easy to remember. There have been times where I've been talking about my own channel to someone, and I just say Baritone Cult because it's easier to remember than my channel that the name has nothing to do with baritones. So Aaron, I think you're getting some traffic when I'm trying to refer people to my own thing. But anyway, it's fun. Baritone Cult says, Bunn, I'm getting either a 29 or 30-inch scale 6-string, currently using 28.5. Love it for G. Yeah. 28 to 29 for G is kind of the magic zone. We're going to get to some guitars here shortly that are in that zone. Anything else I'm missing? Apoplexia. Thank you so much. Hey, Bunn, what are your thoughts on Fishman Fluence Moderns? I love mine on the RGIB 21. So much better than the EMGs. Yes. So I have had the opportunity to fuss with some Fishman. I don't know exactly which model. I think of the Fluence is the series. The Moderns is a model within the series, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really up on the Fishman product range and the details of it, but that's what I understand. Anyhow, I have played a guitar in the store briefly, store play, store volume, which is max volume. I love those people in the guitar store that are just like, I need to feel it. I'm like, fair enough, you do, but yeah, take it to the soundproof room. But yeah, so they were great. They sounded really great. What I liked about it was they didn't feel or sound like EMGs. They didn't have that active kind of spongy thing about them. They're really quiet. That was one thing I noticed right away. But I didn't get into them enough to know. It was just one guitar that I played. I think it was the ESP. And yeah, Stephen Carpenter, maybe, is it was purple. I can't remember what the actual model was. It could have just been a Horizon. Not sure. Anyway, I think it would be a Stephen Carpenter. It would have to be a Stephen Carpenter because I don't think the Fluence or the Fishmans come on any others, but I don't know. That's the thing. I'm not up on it. Anyway, played it for a minute and they sounded really good. I had nothing to compare it against, and I've heard a lot of people on the internet using them, liking them. So I'm going to cut this part of the topic off here in a second, but one thing I don't like about any actives at all is passive sound. It's not that I don't like it about actives, but passive sound super good. Passive sound wicked good. There's so many amazing sounding passive pickups that I don't really think you need to go beyond that. And trouble yourself with batteries and stuff like that. The Fluence series, the newest ones, you can just plug them in, but you have to plug them in and charge them up and make sure they last a long time. Yes, there is all these things, but for me, I don't want to add that layer to my life in terms of gigging and all that kind of stuff. I already try to keep it as basic as possible so that when I'm gigging, all I have to do is worry myself with a guitar, an amp, and playing the songs. And that's hard for me. As some of you know, I'm not a terribly great guitar player. I can play my songs when I rehearse them, and that's about it. But yeah, I hope that is like insightful in some way. I'm trying not to be like, this is what I think. I'm trying to kind of be objective about it as well at the same time, so that it is a conversation as opposed to like, this is what I think. But Thomas Powell wants the fluence. So yeah. Are you getting down with the fluence? Some new metal? Next guitar. Liquid Death everywhere. So next guitar, we're going up to 28 inches in scale. Last one was 27.75 inches in scale. Ugh. And this is the RGIB 6. This is a 2012 model. Is it a 2012 model? Hard to say. Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, it's pretty early. It's like the first or second year. Might be the second year of production. But this is the RGIB 6. And I have Seymour Duncan distortion, SH6 distortion in the bridge, and an SH1 jazz in the neck. I don't play the neck pickup. I just put it in there to be matchy-matchy. Pretty buzzy. Got some buzz there. String buzz. But this is kind of like the guitar that the first baritone that I really kind of gelled with and synced with and did all my initial foreign stuff with. I've done a lot of material with this guitar. And it plays really well. This one is the semi-beefy neck profile. There was a profile that came after this one in the same RGIB 6 range that was much thinner. This is like medium beefy neck, but it still has the flat, very wide radius neck profile, like fretboard radius, nearly flat. But yeah, it's a pretty fat neck, but it makes for a somewhat stable neck. It's not as fat as the new RGIB 21, which is very fat. At least the one that I have is very fat. I feel like that probably is going to change a lot, because it seems as though every batch of RGIBs is pretty inconsistent in the neck profiles. I don't know what to say about it. There's no, I don't have any inside info. But yeah, I have this for foreigns. Foreigns is in G standard, and it's one of my favorite guitars for that. And I got the RGIB 21 to have a duplicate, and then lo and behold, the neck is so different that they're not duplicates. But yeah, it does G really well. It's just past the edge of being not good. Just, you know, the PRS 27.75 inches in scale is like on that edge that it's like, you can do G, but it's not very satisfying. But this is. That's out of tune. Doesn't sound as good as the Dan Electro for that tune anyway. Let's be real. But yeah, RGIB 6, early production model. One of my favorites. I just love the standard RG, you know, bound body neck, you know, black super strat thing. It's one of my favorites. This, what do you call it? The SG thing is also a favorite of mine. But, you know, flat top, no sculpting, just, well, it's got a arm cut, but that's it. Just, I don't know, pure weapon guitar. I love them for aesthetics, as well as they play really nice. This one has really smooth frets. Some people are like, oh, RGs, they have terrible fret ends. I don't know. All the RGs that I have came with great fret ends, but that's not something you can take to the bank. Unless it's a Prestige. Prestige is like always great. So next we have the other RGIB 21. And this one still has the EMGs in it. For the longest time, I was like, am I going to keep this guitar? Should I get rid of it? Because the neck is so big, but I'm kind of used to it now. And what I love about it is they got rid of that kill switch thing. Some people love that kill switch. I don't know. I've never heard anyone use the kill switch in like a sick way throughout a whole set. Maybe you could use it once. I don't know. I use gates, so I don't need to. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing, that kill switch. I wasn't sure of like what the idea was that drove it. So this one's in E standard. And it's like you can do such a light touch with the 8s. It's 8 to 38 strings in E standard, but 28-inch scale. I did a video recently. If you're watching and you're like, what the heck? I did a video, can you tune a baritone up? And I used this guitar to do it because I don't use this guitar on my creative projects currently. So I'm like, I could tune this one to something weird and not worry about having to return it to its, my creative zone of G or whatever, and have to re-intonate and all that. I can just like set it up and not worry about it. And then I kind of fell in love with it, and I was like, oh, this is really fun. Something been trying to get my trills better. They're terrible. But it's easier to practice with the super light strings. And then also like the legato stuff. Right? Anyway, I don't solo. I don't know how to solo, but I like to practice that kind of stuff to get my fingers moving. But anyway, yeah, the RGIB 21, not sure what to say about it. I think it's a good guitar. It's heavier than the RGIB 6 because it's got an Akum body, and the original RGIB 6 line, they were all basswood prior, and Akum is a denser, heavier wood. I'm kind of used to all of it now. When I first picked it up, I was like, holy jumping. It's so much heavier. And I weighed it and I'm like, oh, it's quite a bit heavier. And the neck profile on this one, I don't know, it probably doesn't look that crazy on camera, but it's a really, really beefy neck. It's not great for moving around the fretboard, but probably a good guitar for practicing moving around the fretboard because it's a workout on the hands. Comes with locking tuners, but I broke one because I'm an animal. Because not only do I like to murder my thirst, but I like to murder tuners. Not tuners, tuning machines. Murdered. It's mostly because, I have superhuman strength because I'm huge. I'm gigantic human being. Look at this. Stupid. But anyway, yeah, 28-inch scale, RGIB 21. So moving into the future, I'm either going to use the two RGs. I'm going to change the EMGs in the RGIB21 to something similar to the SH6, or maybe I'll change the pickups in both of them to something else completely. I like the SH6. The Seymour Duncan distortions, I really like the sound of that pickup a lot. But if you're going to go that road, try and get the trembucker spacing because it will line up with the strings a little bit better. For those of you who don't know, Ibanez guitars are F-spaced, generally speaking, meaning the string spacing is F spacing. If you've never heard that before, check it out, look it up. It's a good thing to know. Seymour Duncan's version of F spacing or something like it is called trembucker. It's just the spacing of the poles of the pickups. Little tip there, cool little tip. I hope it helps. I'm going to move along in this awesome thing. I'm missing Tyler Adams. What are you doing here? Good to see you, man. Hope you're well. What is this? What are these gifts that you come bearing? I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Whatchamacallit, I notice here, Connor McLenry. Bam. I can never say that last name. Anyway, you're saying Buried Alive uses the kill switch, but he's just a monster of a guitarist. Buckethead used them often too, I think. Yeah, so Buckethead is superhuman and does everything in an unbelievably creative way and interesting kind of way. And I've seen this before, Buried Alive, like BERRIED Alive. And I don't think it's a typo. I think there's a band called Buried Alive. The Buried Alive, appropriate spelling of buried, was a Syracuse hardcore band that I loved. Like, they had a 7-inch called 6 Month Face. That's some serious brutal riffage. Awesome. They used to play here in Toronto like they were a local band, because they kind of were. You know, Buffalo is not very far away. Syracuse is not very far away. I don't know if they were Buffalo or Syracuse, to be honest, now that all that time has gone. Anyway, boom. What do we got here? A few more comments. The Uptuned Baritone video was fun as AF. I'm going to make this bigger so I can read it easier. I don't need to. And I'm going to put it like more in front of me. How about that? We'll do that. Oh, that's so much better. Guys, I'm learning stuff about coordinating my life. Cosman, you just did a solo, dude. No, I don't know how to solo. I played some patterns with a technique. It's not a solo. Solo has soul low. Keith Body knows all about soloing, though, in a way that I cannot even describe. He's a monster of a player. Datamouth, how are you? Good to see you in the stream. I hope all is well. How are the jams going? He says, Bunn, been thinking about changing the lipstick pickups on my Dan Electro Baritone. Do you have any suggestions, if any? I feel like my pickups lack sustain. I don't think it's the pickups. If anything, the sustain is in the setup, and maybe you need the frets leveled. A fret leveling, like a really full and thorough setup, is gonna maximize the amount of sustain that the guitar has available. And if after that, the sustain is not very significant, something's wrong with the guitar. There's like a dead component on the guitar. And this happens from time to time. It's a difficult thing to navigate. It's a difficult thing to, from the store and the first few days of owning a guitar, to be like, is this just a dead guitar? Some guitars are just dead. And you know it after you've played a few, but if you've never had one before, it can happen. I don't think this is the case, though. The Dan Electro is not a, exquisitely set up guitar out of the store. but they're easy to set up, and the frets are just nickel frets. So, you know, leveling the frets is pretty easy. Even if you want to go at it yourself, you could probably do it. Watch a few videos, but I think, yeah, a thorough setup. So obviously truss rod, nut, make sure that the nut is cut appropriately for the strings that you have. If the cut of the nut, if the strings are riding high in the nut and not contacting the bottom of the nut, you're going to have worse sustain. Similarly, if the strings are choking in the nut and still not kind of at the appropriate break angle at the edge of the nut, you'll also have poor sustain there. And then on the bridge side, not really much to contemplate there, but the frets. So if you're fretting and the string is kind of like losing energy close to another fret, and there's enough gain that you can't quite hear it or whatever, I don't know. I think it's frets. So Dynamo, thank you for the help there, the contribution. I highly appreciate it. And I hope that is, in terms of setup, I hope that is something to consider. If you still don't like the pickups though, you could try the DiMarzio, you know, Texas, I think it's the Texas, like noise canceling single coil Telecaster pickups. I know a few people who have mounted DiMarzio and Seymour Duncan single coils or rail humbuckers into Dan Electros without any kind of challenges. It's something you can do. It does have to mount from the back, and that's kind of weird. But yeah, you could do that. You lose all the tone of the Dan Electro though. The Dan Electro magical sparkle of the lipsticks, it goes away. And it just sounds kind of like a normal guitar. But that's okay. Like, guitars sound good. So I hope that helps. We're going to move along to some more guitars here. Mikhail Ali, I hope you are well. Good to see you in the stream, man. Anyone else? Calvert, good to see you. I hope all is well. Gitan Saibu. I'm not too sure, but Gitan, c'est non français. Will you check out the improved Gretch Baritone? No more neck plate. Huh? What do you mean? Gretch is going to be two more on the list. We're going to talk about the Gretch. But before we talk about the Gretch, we're going to talk about the next thing. If you want to get into, we talked all about conversions last week. So I'm not going to dwell too hard on this. But the beautiful thing about conversions is you can very easily get to a scale length. If you're doing G and you want to get to a scale length that does G is like superb for G, the 28.625 inch scale conversions is great for G. Just love this guitar. I was having issues with it for a long time, but now it kills. It kills. It might become the new 4-inch guitar. Not exactly sure. Might be this and the Gretch. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, but yeah, 28.625. Why did I get this? I got this to try and build my own dream guitar, and I think it is becoming my dream guitar finally. But because I love Tellys. Tellys are maybe my absolute favorite guitars of all guitars. And I love how basic a Telly is. I do not like fancy guitars, not at all. And any kind of modern, like overtly modern fancy appointments, I generally don't like most of that stuff from an aesthetics point of view. If it's practical and it makes a lot of sense in terms of being technically beneficial, you know, I'm not an idiot. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, I was a non-believer on the Illumitones for a long time. And the Illumitones seem to be working out quite nice. I've been recording a lot with this guitar, and it does G in a lively way. The tension is just absolutely superb. And I'm using a 14 to 68 Kurt Mangan set on this. And yeah, the, whatchamacallit? What are these called? Illumitone? Standard Illumitone humbuckers. Something, if you're not familiar with Illumitones, what's amazing about them is no noise. There's no gate right now. Oh, wait, let me check. Oh. Here we go. Okay. View. This is very complicated. There we go. There we go. So that's no gate. But this is a very quiet pickup. Unbelievable. And that's something I really like about the Illumitones. Anyway, let's turn that gate back on because most of the guitars are very loud. There we go. Off, on. There we go. And let's get out of that view so we don't wreck anything. Seems like Warmoth conversions in general are really, really like a big thing in the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group. If you're not a member of the group, join the group. A lot of, enthusiastic baritoners there, sharing their riffs, sharing their guitar stories, especially when it comes to builds, a lot of builds, like actual full-on custom builds, as well as a lot of conversions. And a lot of talented players, and even novice players who are just going for it. And I think the novice player just going for it is the thing that gets me the most stoked. I'm like, oh, go for it. I remember being like just a novice starting out and like how stoked I was. I was fortunate to have like people stoked on how stoked I was. And I was just like, that is amazing. And they're like, yes, it's amazing. You should play more sick riffs. So yeah, what are we doing here? Oh yeah, okay, I got my thing here. So Warmoth baritone conversion. There's a lot of conversion options. Check the measurements on the conversion. Check the specs on the conversion. If you want to know more about conversions, last week's episode of this show last Friday, we did a show all about conversions, and I think we went pretty deep. You might have to get through a lot of rambling. I'm a rambling man. Coming through your town, going to tear it down. I'm a rambling man. I don't even know those lyrics, but oh, I see something little. I spy with my little eye. Some Anthony Nito stylies. Stoked Vibes Friday. That's the way it is here. Stoked. Thank you, brother. Anthony Nito, Prince, master of riffs. You coming out with a new record, Anthony? What's going on with your riffs? It's probably under the down low. Keep it on the down low, Bunn. Anything else that I'm missing before I get to the next guitar? Baritone color. Are you going to talk 30-inch scale guitars? No, not because of love to hear your perspective. I am going to talk about 30-inch scale. We're almost there. Yeah, I like 30. I have a project that is only 30-inch scale guitars. We'll talk about that. Oh yeah. I keep forgetting to share the things. I keep talking about all this music and whatnot that I use this stuff for. So the project that I keep talking about that is called foreigns. I'm like, I do this thing called foreigns and it's tuned to G and it's like so amazing. Well, you can decide if it's amazing or not. Like don't take my word for it. It's probably little too artsy for you. Just saying. Yeah, if you want to check out what I'm talking about and what it all connects with, this is what I use the G tuned guitars for. It's in the link is in the stream. And Calvert says Telecasters are beautiful, and he is not lying. That is, in fact, truth. In fact. So next guitar on the list is the Gretch Electromatic Jet Baritone. This one is with a Bigsby. I know everyone's crazy for the fixed bridge ones. That guitar didn't exist when I bought this one. I actually bought two of them and didn't know it. And when I went to pick it up, they're like, here are your guitars. And I'm like, oh, I only wanted one. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, we'll reverse the charge. I'm like, oh, thankfully it was not terribly expensive. And I wasn't out like, I don't know, $1,800 at the moment. Anyway, what's doing with the Gretches? Gretches are 29.75 inches in scale. Some people think that they're 30. There is no Gretch on earth that is 30 inches in scale. They're all 29.75 inches in scale. If you want to use it to do the super low thing, the low E1 standard or lower, it is not as good as a 30-inch scale. Some people would be like, what's that 1/4 of an inch? What does that make a difference? If you only play down here, doesn't matter. You can tune it down to Z. Nothing will matter. But if you play, I'm popping the mic. If you pedal off the low string, into the higher, like, what do you call it? Wide interval type stuff. It tunes quite well, for that kind of stuff. If that stuff is important to you, I'm trying to think of something to play that's way up there, but I can't think of anything. But yeah, if you do the pedal off the low string thing, and you're in G, this guitar is unbelievably great for it. The Dan Electro is the same. All the Dan Electros are 29.75 inches in scale as well. I've heard tale of 30-inch scale Dan Electros, but all I've ever seen of that has been their basses. Their Longhorn bass is a 30-inch scale guitar, 30-inch scale bass, and some people have converted those into baritones or bass sixes. But I love this guitar. It was really inexpensive. It's made in China. The stock pickups are just the Gretch Chinese-made TV Jones kind of designed pickups, but they sound great. They're woody and thick, but they are still clear and lively, which is not a common combination of things. The fret ends are really smooth. I never had to get any fretwork done on it. The neck is nice and straight. I don't know if this is going to be the case for every single one that rolls off the factory line. However, a ton of people in the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group have bought Gretches recently, the fixed tail ones, and I'm pretty sure everyone has had a positive experience. I'm waiting to see if there's a negative experience. It seems like everyone loves them to death. They're great guitars. Not sponsored by Gretch or anything. They're just like, Gretch did it right. such a brutal sounding guitar too. Gotta play the right notes. I haven't played that for a while. I don't really know what the notes are. Anyway, the Gretch Electromatic Baritone. Amazing for G, really quite good for F. If you want to go down to F standard or F sharp, it does an F sharp really, really well. And you don't have to have super huge strings. The strings are pretty moderate. They have to be bigger, but not like gigantic, which is great. You don't need an 80 on it to go to F. Like not even close. You could do it with this is a 68. Let's just do a drop F right now. The tuning won't be perfect, but I don't know how to, I don't have anything in drop tuning, so I don't have any drop skills. But yeah, it does F like no problem. This is a 68 and it's like, and I pick really hard and it's rattling a bit, but not really an issue. So if you want to go do that F, G, somewhere in the range of F and G, the Gretch Electromatic baritones do it really well. And they're not expensive and they're built nice. So yeah, not sponsored, just like Gretch hit it out of the park. Now we're getting into everybody's favorite guitar. I'm not exactly sure why. This here is the Jazzmaster baritone. You know, it's like going for $2,000 these days on the used market. And I would say build a custom guitar for that money. Don't even bother with this guitar. Is it a cool guitar? Yeah, it's cool, but it's not great. It's just cool, like a little bit cool. Something that is very significant with this guitar, I have it tuned to E1 standard. I don't even know if that's how it goes, but it's tuned to E1 standard, and I use it for Wetlands. And for those of you who don't know what Wetlands is, I'm going to try and keep on top of this. If you're at all curious, you're like, what is this Wetlands baloney? Well, let me tell you, it is a whole bunch of, I don't know, spaghetti Western. No, it's like brutal sludge, gross. Very gross. I use it for very gross music. Something I have to say about it is the neck. Even though the neck is beefy, it's a comfortable neck to play, and it's a beefy-ish kind of neck, but it moves a lot. You know, I have to set the truss rod, you know, every couple weeks, and in order to maintain low action. I like low action. Most people do. I don't know personally anyone who loves high action. But I like low action. Yeah, 30 inches in scale. You can tune it down to E. I got it specifically to use it as a bass 6. And you can tune it down to E1 standard, no problem. Many people are tuning the 30-inch scale guitars far beyond that, which is totally fine. I'm never going to say that you can't do that or you shouldn't do that. But I'm going to say that I will never, people keep asking if I'm going to do something with that or whatever. And the answer is never. I like things to work really as well as possible. And I find even like a D, it gets sloppy, which would be cool. Like if you want to do something but yeah, drop D, you can do it. Some people are going down to drop C, whatever, like C1, like way low. You can do it with 30-inch scale. It seems to work best in as low as E1 standard. If you want to go lower, do it, try it. If you're happy with it, stoked, do that. I do have a tuner. I can't even hear the note. Great. So 30-inch scale. I use it for really gross stuff and I love it. I play with the bass in the same octave. I use the Ibanez ATK bass. It's like kind of like a vintage styled Ibanez bass with a modern kind of preamp type of tone. Nice. ATK for attack. It has a lot of attack. It just sounds like a mess. This tone is not the ideal for this low of a tuning. What do we got? Oh yeah, there is no, this pickup isn't even in the circuit. There's, you know, most of my guitars are that way. So yeah, Fender Jazzmaster. Don't spend $2,000 on this. Buy something better because not a great guitar. It's a cool guitar. If you can get one for cheap, it's worth it. It makes sense if it's a cheap guitar, but $2,000, it's not worth $2,000. It's pretty crappy guitar. A guitar that is actually worth in terms of the quality of it $2,000, but looks is not a cool guitar, but is awesome, is the SRC6. And the SRC6 is 30 inches in scale as well. And I have it also to use it as a bass 6. E1 standard. It has an active preamp, but passive pickups. And a lot of folks get that wrong. They're like, it has active pickups. No, it has EMG, HZ style pickups. They are passive pickups with an active preamp. The best way to run it for a guitar type of sound is to run the preamp flat, like the preamp not on, no cut or boost, just nothing. And you just get the sound of the pickups, and the pickups are quite bright. Will I get a copyright strike for that? But I love this guitar. The neck is super stable. The action is unbelievably low. It plays really well. You know, we can play some tuning is amazing. Yeah, I love this guitar. I just wish it looked cooler. but it is made amazingly. It is an amazingly built guitar. It sounds really good. When I record Wetlands stuff, I shared the link. When I record Wetlands stuff, this guitar is the guitar that I use the most because it is quiet. Let's turn the gate off. It is quiet-ish. How do we get in there? There we go. And bam, bam. Whoa. What did I do? Output main. Let's turn it off and reboot it. I'm reaching over it. I should just put it in front of me. Anyway, but yeah, it's got a really quiet, like when you're recording, it doesn't make a lot of noise. It sounds quite nice. Like it's a tight sounding instrument. It's got a really bright character for a guitar type of tone, which is odd because if you use it as a bass, the preamp is actually much more voiced towards a bass. And if you start EQing it or whatever, you can get a very decent bass sound out of it if you want to use it as a 6-string bass, like tuned high, 6 high bass. So it's a really versatile instrument that way. You can use the Jazzmaster as well as a bass, a 6-string tuned high, like bass 6, like in a bass roll. It doesn't have as strong of a bottom end when used as a bass compared to the SRC6. Is the SRC6 amazing as a bass? No, it's not, because a bass every time will just always do a better job. But you know, that's up for debate. It depends what you're doing creatively. Maybe the thing you're doing calls for more of a tone like this. I don't know. There we go. We're back. View. Let's go over here. Bam. Main. Gate. Off. So no gate at all. Same amount of gain. Unbelievably quiet instrument. Yeah. No gates at all. All off. That's incredible. I don't have too many instruments that have that level of like low noise. So if that kind of a thing is important to you, the SRC6, especially for recording, might be a thing. Gate back on. Gate off. You can hear it kind of, but it's the self noise is so low. So yeah, I really prefer this guitar for recording my Wetlands stuff because it just records so well. Like even like these strings are super dead and it still sounds pretty good. Well, some people would be like, you call that sounding good? I get it. I'm not an idiot. It sounds good for what I want to use it for. Let's be real. What do we got here? Bam. Whoa, the comments. I'm way behind. So what time is it? 10:25. Perfect time. I'm done with guitars. And I missed a lot in the comments. So let's talk about guitars for a bit. Is there anything specifically that you want to know about the guitars that I might be able to kind of give insight into? Just to recap, we talked about the 400B LTD Viper, the SE Mashak with aftermarket Invader pickups, Seymour Duncan Invader pickups in it. Not a great choice, in my opinion, but you might like it. An RGIB 6 with Seymour Duncan SH6 and SH1 pickups in it. A RGIB 21 with the stock EMGs in it. A Warmoth converted Telly to 28.625 inches in scale with Alumitone pickups in it. A Gretch Electromatic Jet Baritone 29.75 inches in scale. All stock and fabulous stock. Unbelievable guitar stock. The Jazzmaster Baritone with a Pickup Wizard custom made humbucker in it, and it's still noisy as F. Actually, let's just, before we get into it, this is with a humbucker. I don't know why it's so noisy. I got to take it apart and trace the ground. I think the ground is not actually touching any metal. That's what I think. Yeah. So the other thing, since I went to this Mac M1 Mini, for those of you who kind of missed that, I'm on the new Macintosh computer train, and they don't have a power supply. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the engineering and the relationships to powering and all that kind of stuff. But the noise is lower. Notice how the noise jumps when I mute? There's no gate anywhere here. The gate is off, obviously. It's super noisy, but for some reason there's this weird jump in noise. It's not as noisy as it used to be when I was using the Mac Pro, which had a huge, like 700 watt power supply and made a lot of noise, made guitars a lot noisier. But yeah, the SRC6 is unbelievably quiet. But yeah, the final recap, Jazzmaster with a Pickup Wizard custom made pickup in it and a SRC6 100% bone stock. So those are the guitars: Viper, Mashak, 2 RGIB6, RGIB21, Telly, Warmoth Telly, Gretch Electromatic, Jazzmaster Baritone, SRC6. That's the guitars we went through. If there's anything you want to know about any of them, that would be great. So Self-Inflatable off the top here is saying his SRC6, he has an SRC6, older, I think it's probably 2 years older than mine, 2 to 3 years older than mine. Same pickups, same configuration, identical, but definitely a different era, and his is noisy. But he got it used, so he doesn't know what sort of things happen to it. Yeah, something I find with my RGIB 21 and the Viper, 400B Viper, they both have EMG 85s, 81, 85 combo, 85 in the neck, 81 in the bridge. I find them to be very noisy pickups. I don't know if it's an EMG thing in general, but I'm incredibly impressed, surprised with the EMGs that I have in this SRC6. It's just so quiet. I can't believe it. So Self-Inflatable says this is not consistent across the product line, which is interesting. And I trust him 4,000%. I've played most of his guitars, and I haven't played his SRC6 plugged in though. Nick Hill, Gunky Zip, thanks brother. I really appreciate your support. Gunky Zip, and Nick Hill, you guys are hugging and making friends. I like it. I love it actually. Tyler Adams, Invader straight to jack. Take no prisoners. Yeah. Honestly, the Invader straight to jack is going to be a better configuration. So something else that is going on with that Mike Mashak with the Invaders in it is it has 1 meg ohm volume pot. There is no tone pot. There are 2 volumes. There's a independent volume for the neck and the bridge. They're both 1 meg ohm. And some people would say it is like wiring the pickup straight to the jack. There is some treble bleed going on there. I don't know if it's enough treble bleed for a human being to perceive or hear, but technically on a scope, you should be able to measure some treble bleed. It's probably way the heck up there though. But similar with 1 meg ohm pots, you retain some of the upper stuff. I don't know if it's enough in the right place. You know, what's really important to a guitar type sound is the sort of 2.625, 634, whatever kind of area of the upper mids. That's sort of where the true brightness of a guitar is. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, you know, I need to keep that 10K in there. I'm like, the 10K isn't doing anything good for you. It's not the thing that makes a guitar sound magical. Not to say that you have to cut it. I'm not saying that at all. I cut it. You don't have to cut it. But 10K doesn't contribute anything great to a guitar. It's just sort of some air up there. Not terribly important. So yeah, if you're going to go with invaders or something that is high output, what makes the invaders really dark is that they're really high output pickups and they're ceramic high output. So the ceramic part helps a little bit in keeping it a little bit, you know, upper mid. Ceramic is a little bit harsher than El Nico usually, but in this case, in a very beneficial way, it helps the pickup still have some attack to it. And it has a reasonable amount of attack, but yeah, using the 1 mega ohm pots or just going straight to the jack is going to be your best bet for a really hot pickup, still having some life to it. If you want to go that road, highly, highly recommended. Is Self-Inflatable says, is Gear Stuff and Things in here? I don't know if he is, but Gear Stuff and Things and Artie, you guys do need to meet. Oh, sorry. I hope I didn't give that away. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Keith Body Connor should, good to know, Connor. Good to know. Not sure what you guys are talking about, but I'm stoked that you guys are having a, whatchamacallit, a good hang. Cookie Zip, never trust a Mac Gen 1. Oh, if you're talking about the M1 series Macs, I've never had a computer this crushing. For not only is it really inexpensive, but it's like really cheap and it's 10 times more powerful than the computer that I was going to pay $6,000 for. And it was like $1,300 bucks. And I don't have $6,000 to spend. So I don't know. So far, I'm just like, what is up with this? This is like a revolution for people like me who are not rich and want to do all this bitchin' like art stuff that requires a computer. Mac M1. Ooh, what are they doing? Amazing. Brody Cox, oh my God, my power supply on my desktop wreaks havoc with my interface and especially my pedal power supply, endlessly aggravating. Yes, Brody Cox, this is something that's interesting about the new M1 Macs. We're going to see this technology in PCs, ARM-based architecture in PCs in the near future. But right now, Mac is just like destroying with it. And a huge benefit to my surprise and to my delight and to all people doing audio is the low noise factor. Because that power supply is not in there, there's probably something going on with power management or power stepping, or I don't know. Like, I'm not an electrical engineer or a computer engineer. Maybe Keith Body knows more about this. He is a digital systems, not only a guitar wizard, but a digital systems wizard. So Keith Body, if you could weigh in on the Mac M1 power supply situation. There's no brick, there's no power supply in the traditional sense. And it seems like the low power usage, the low wattage, is a major contributing factor to positive results with low noise using guitars and whatnot that you're plugging in, and pedals and pedal power supplies and all that. So there's something going on there. I'm not an electrical engineer or a computer systems, tech. So, but something's going on. And Brody Cox, if you can get in on this, it might be worth it. If there's some way you can explore it before you jump into it, I highly recommend. Not just like, whoa. I had to do it because my other system was failing. And I needed to make a quick decision, and this was the best I could afford. And it ended up working out unbelievably well for me. but it's still early in the M1 life cycle in terms of compatibility and all that kind of stuff. It's fine for me, but it might not be fine for everyone. It's not fine for everyone in terms of compatibility specifically. Cosman says, Gunky Zip just opened a Bandcamp page today and posted my release. Don't know how to share the link here. I'll share it for you, Mr. Cosman. I just got to go back into that, whatchamacallit, into that, what is this thing called? You can quick type, disable, I got to go into this program. I can't think of what it's called. Discord. Discord. Baritone Obsessed. Studio One. What is this thing in? General, production, bandlist. Is it in the production tab? Nope. Bandlist. Is it in the bandlist tab? Nope. I was there like earlier. Member music, is it in that tab? Yes, it is. Okay, great. Marauder Bandcamp. Bam. This is my pal Cosman, and he released something that is awesome. Nick Hill and I, we do a live stream every Wednesday night on the Bandless channel, and Bandless is all about sort of getting inside the the perspective of being the solo guy. Like, I'm the only guy or girl. It's not a gender specific thing. But you get what I'm talking about. But yeah, just a person who is making their own music, and sometimes it's really difficult to finish things. A lot of times it's really difficult to finish things. A lot of times it's really difficult to get things out and just follow through with it. And the worried about sucking, worried about being judged, worried about all kinds of things. And our whole platform is all about, like, those things don't matter so much. Like, the consequences of that don't matter so much. It's about the practice, like the exposure. If you do it and do it and do it and do it, everything gets better. Your nerves about it get better. Your ability gets better. Your understanding of the climate that you're in and how to, connect with other musicians, connect with an audience, just the act of doing it is really important. So a bunch of folks in the Bandless Discord have been sharing their stuff, and they kind of started a thread where they're like egging each other on and supporting each other. And Cosman released a track today for the first time in a really long time, and it's pretty sick. And if you'd like to check it out and check out kind of what we're talking about, connect with the Cosman and a bunch of folks here from the Bandless Discord, which has a Baritone Obsessed section and a Nick Hill section and a Gear Stuff and Things section, all that stuff. But yeah, check it out. And if you like, oh, look at that, Nick Hill, I'm just talking about you and brothers in arms and brothers in M1 love the guitar talk. Love that guitar talk. Thank you, brother. Let's see here. Nick Hill, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to share this Discord link one last time. It expires in 24 hours. If you want to join the Discord and you want to get in on all this stuff, like I say, there's a Baritone Obsessed section there. And to get in what I'm talking about, but everybody's sharing their link of their music. It's awesome. And we're not going to be sharing this link publicly for much longer, if at all, because we want to keep things... it's a very positive, tight-knit community, and we want to keep it that way, and anything coming into it moving forward is going to be a little bit more managed, if you will. But it's open invite there, link right now, if you'd like to get involved. Nick Hill's got a section there. A whole bunch of people got stuff going on in there. It's not about any one person. It's just Nick Hill and I and Gear Stuff and Things. We all kind of founded it. But what were we talking about? M1s. I don't want to talk about M1s anymore. But yeah, if you're having issues with noise producing at home and you're hoping to get into a new system, or you're needing to get into a new system, I wouldn't say drop everything and just jump into this new fangled stuff. That's not a smart thing to do. But if you are looking to jump systems, there's a whole bunch of benefits to this new M1 business in speed and performance. They're unbelievably powerful. If you do video editing, you will really have benefits. I do a lot of video editing, obviously. And if you're having issues with noise at home, the M1 Mac, my pal, self-inflatable, also has the same M1 Mini that I have. I have a maxed out Mini. I have a small system drive, but everything else is maxed out. He has the same thing going on with a bigger system drive. But he was also very worried about noise, and he's pleasantly surprised. And he has a bunch of single coil guitars. He loves single coil tellies, and he's like, oh, it'd be great if I could get less noise. So if that's something that's in your mind and on your plate, and you're in a position where you're thinking about jumping, that might be a great solution to explore. I'm not saying get into it, but yeah, definitely worth exploring. Aaron MP, how are you? Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you around for quite a while. I hope things are well with you. Jack Wagon, first time I see you in the stream today. I hope all is well there. The Gretch, Dwayne Eddy, he talks about the 30.3 inch scale, bass 6. Yes, it's a wild looking big arch top. I think it is a pure hollow body. I'm not exactly sure what the construction is. I don't know if it has a center block or not. My imagination is saying that it does not have a hard center block. A center block meaning, we'll just grab any old guitar here, but a center block meaning that it is solid from all the way through the center and the wings are hollow. I think the Dwayne Eddy bass 6 is 100% hollow body, like it's chambered everywhere. Not exactly sure though. Worth something to consider, think about. Depending on how you're going to use it. It'd be sick to use a Dwayne Eddy bass 6 for like skull crushing doom. I would be into that. So Bandcamp Friday is this Friday. I thought it was last Friday. F my life. I could have made it. I was like, oh, I thought I missed it. Right. First Friday of the month it only became March. I'm an idiot. I could have finished this track and released it. Well, I'm just going to buy everybody else's tracks, and that's going to be super great. So yeah, if you like any of the tracks that people are talking about here, hold off till tomorrow or wait, today's Friday. No, next Friday? No, it's today. Shoot, I'm crazy. So it's Bandcamp Friday. Let's just double check here. Man, where does the time go? Metal show, fans have paid, selling right now, Bandcamp. Bandcamp daily. Oh, all my windows went crazy. Bandcamp daily. Yeah, today's Bandcamp Friday. Ugh, I'm so dumb. I could have did it. Anyway, I got lots of time. I don't work a day job anymore, so I got to get every Bandcamp Friday in and try and make rent. Good luck. Cosman, M1 is a new iMac platform or Mac platform. The M1 chips kills the Intel or AMD processors. They perform at a workstation chipset level. They don't kill, like there are AMD processors and Intel processors that just smoke M1s, but they have to be like the total workstation class chipsets. And that's what's so amazing about these tiny little M1 chipsets, integrated chip architecture, ARM-based architecture, SoC, system on a chip. And it's all about efficiency. A lot of that has to do with the Mac OS being optimized entirely for the SoC. So yeah, we're not going to get into computer talk, but yes, they do kill a lot of Intel and AMD processors, except for the top end workstation class processors, which still, if you go high enough up there, if you go to the $10,000 range of Intel or AMD, you're going to smoke the M1s. But you got to spend a lot of money. So Keith Body, interesting. He still has a G5 kicking around. Wow, man. I had a G4 Quicksilver, and yeah, I missed the G5s, and I have one of the first Mac Pro towers that were in the cheese grater. With, you know, the cheese grater came out with the G5s, the end of the G5s. But then when they switched over to Intel, they just called it Mac Pro, and I have one of those. But your G5 server is probably the cheese grater version of the server. Those are so sick. I always wanted the server version to have a rack mount. Marauders Music, Discord, bam. April Fools. Brody Cox, thanks for the tips. Bunn, appreciate you and everyone here. Oh, we appreciate you, Brody. The whole thing here is about a good hang and being pals. So yeah, for those of you who are, you know, newer to the stream, I haven't been since the beginning. If you write, I'm sure you know this already, but just in case, if you go @ and you go, you know, start typing a person's username. So Gunky Zip, hello, brother. Bam. If you go @ and the username, you can have a community, like a conversation with other users, and I don't know, just get stoked, get each other stoked, get stoked, share the stoke. That's the whole deal with Bunn streams. It's not really about listening to me talk about anything. Anthony Nito, gotta head out. Have a fabulous night, Anthony Nieto. I always say it Nito, like so Canadian. So Canadian, eh? Tim Wheeler, have a great night. It seems like you're taken off as well. WB says, Mesa Mini Rectifier is a Mesa Dual Rectifier miniaturized. Awesome. Yes, the Mini Rectifier is an EL84 power amp architecture. And when I first started playing with it, I was not kind of setting it up quite right. I was setting it up more like I would just set up any dual rectifier, which is like a 6L6 based full-size dual rectifier, which is not the best way to go about it. So finally, when I was playing around with the Mesa Mini Recto, and I kind of found how to work with it, I was blown away with it. It's a great sounding amp. And the Badlander is an EL34 based, dual rectifier, which is, you can take that voicing. EL84s and EL34s have a very similar voicing in the power section. And so if you like that Recto Mini sound, you want to scale it up, the Badlander is that sound. Expensive amp, but it also comes with the digital IR out, which is something I was complaining about in a video. Not complaining about, but I'm like, if you're going to do cab clone IR. We need a modern solution to use our amps, both live and in the studio. And a lot of times in the studio, we can't plug even a low wattage amp in at any volume. It's still usually too loud. So the IR out, the cab clone, the original cab clone is not great, but the cab clone IR is great. And they have that on the Badlander. And hopefully Mesa will include it in all of their heads going forward. It's M1 stuff, but Apoplex says $10,000 versus $1,000 Canadian, not really a dilemma. Yeah. So M1s versus the world. It'll all catch up. We'll see Windows on a SoC architecture in the near future. Ryan LaFlamme, good to see you. It's today. Mets did a drop for Bandcamp Friday. Shoot. Yeah, everyone's doing, I usually do them, but I'm in this transition zone into Bunn, the musician YouTuber guy. And today's my first day, like completely free. and I haven't been focused on the Bandcamp Friday. I wish I would have known, because I probably could have made it happen. I just thought I missed it already, not paying attention to the calendar. So dumb. But yeah, everybody else has it going on. And yeah, I'll pay more attention to the calendar going forward. Beard Guy just purchased Bunn's discography for Bandcamp Friday. Better late than never. Oh, thanks, man. I hope you dig it. If there's anything in there that you know, jumps out at you, I'd love to hear about it. If there's anything in there that bums you out, you can tell me about that too. I'm not very precious about my music. I'm not like, oh, that person doesn't like my music, that person is trash. Yeah, it's but if there's something in there you find interesting, I'd love to know about it. Jack Wagon, what do you think about turning to EQ or to tuning to E0 for bass? Jack Wagon, I'm not into it. Personally, if you feel like I think if you go the route of the Callium Quake bass, they have a few different flavors of that. They have fan and straight fret models available, and it's 39.4 inches in scale, something to that effect. I usually would remember it, but anyway, it's almost 40 inches in scale. And people have tuned that to E0 with good effect, like with a decent level of performance. And I believe Meshuggah uses that bass for that exact reason. So if it's good enough for Meshuggah, it's good enough for all of us. I am interested in exploring it. I don't want to explore it with the Callium Quake bass. The vibe on that bass, the look of it is just so far out there that I can't get past it, even though technically it really appeals to the creative potential for me, because my Wetlands stuff would probably sound pretty sick with an octave down option. Who knows? I don't know. But with traditional bass, with anything less than that, like Dingwall, have a Dingwall 37-inch scale on the low side, and I got this specifically to tune to G, and it does G reasonably. It doesn't do G amazing. It just does it okay. And I have a 176 on the low side, which is far heavier than I would like. I would like it to be low, like a lighter string, but I find that's where I get the performance and the tone that I'm looking for. Surprisingly, Callium strings, stainless steel strings, are still bright at that size, which is very surprising. Bright-ish. But yeah, E0 on bass. Tough one. If I had a Callium Quake, I'd like to try a Callium Quake. I don't want to own one. The headstock design just drives me so wild. And I guess the horn is so far forward, the top horn is so far forward to balance the bass out because it's so neck long. It makes sense technically, but I don't know. I would like to try a near 40-inch scale bass for some of this stuff and see what that's all about. But whatchamacallit, Jimbo Collins just had a crazy idea. Put a Kool-Aid packet into a can of liquid death and get some fizzy death. Fizzy cherry death. It's a great idea. Kool-Aid, or when I was a kid, there was also a brand called Freshie. And I always called it, like, now kids will be like, I want some Kool-Aid, and call it by the name brand rather than mixed berry drink or mixed fruit drink. Not a very exciting way to call it. You want to call it Kool-Aid or Freshie. When I was a kid, it was called Freshie, different brand, and I think it was a parrot, the character, as opposed to the big Kool-Aid man. But in the end, the Kool-Aid man won because he smashes through walls. He's crushing through walls. But Jimbo Collins, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do in the Discord group. We're gonna do some experiments of the Kool-Aid packets into liquid death and come up with a whole new designer thing. Although I don't know how much death it would be if it was fruity. Doesn't matter. Probably even more death. 22 layers of death. Ryan LaFlemme, so good to see you in here, man. Whatchamacallit, custom acid slow decay 7. I think they ended up selling them out. That's the record that you bought today, Ryan LaFlemme. Sounds like a crushing record. Brody Cox, I think Emission was my fave. That's so interesting. Emission seems to be like a little bit of a, not a favorite, but like a track that people are interested in. And for me, it's the one that I connect with the least of all of the material I've made that it is released. But there's riffs in it that I like the most. A few things, like the middle bridge riff. I really like that riff a lot. Like, it's fun to play. It's a really enjoyable riff to play. Interesting. I always like to know, like, what's going on. Jack Wagon says, thanks for the reply. I really don't want to put my Dingwall in E0. My pal Cairo, I don't know if for those of you guys who know Cairo or not, Cairo Bandcamp. My pal Cairo did a thing recently where he was fooling around with E0. This is his Bandcamp. I don't know if he has anything on here that's in E0, but he has a Dingwall, a gnarly 5-string Dingwall, and he recently was fooling around with it in E0, and he was getting decent results, but he had to pick really, really, really light. So, but that's his Bandcamp page. He does a variety of stuff. Awesome guy from Sweden, great guitar player. And, but yeah, I don't know if any of this stuff that in the link that I've shared is in E0, but he's been fooling with it. And, so you can get in touch with him through that link and talk to him about it. He's a great guy, very responsive dude. And, yeah, he's just stoked. He's stoked like the rest of us. Great stream as always. Good, sir. Barry Prosser. Thanks, man. We try to just hang and do it right. Just be like, bring the social part to social media, which is tough in this world. A lot of people are just obsessed with their views and obsessed with their analytics. I'm like, well, what about the whole thing that's going on? The social of social media. Try and do that part at least a little bit, you know, especially on Friday night, COVID Friday. This is how we do it now. We drink liquid death. We hang out. We talk about guitars, tone. Let's talk about that tone. I am going away from like the sickest tone and just like trying to come up with gross tones. Like my whole thing now is just like gross. I'm so tired of like the perfect tone. I'm like, I want gross stuff. I want stuff that's gnarly. Still clear-ish, but gnarly, you know? Miles does music. Welcome. Welcome, Death Crew member. Me and Miles, we have a crew called the Death Crew. Miles, Gear Stuff and Things, myself, and Nick Hill. And yeah, we are the Death Crew because it's all about life. Live. Live because death. Anyway, whatchamacallit, Keith Body, LOL, COVID, Apple Friday, somethings. Yeah. Aaron Dawson, you're not obsessed with The View. I love Whoopi. Well, you know, Whoopi and The View. I do love Whoopi. Whoopi is like, she knows how to live, man. Good to see you here, Mr. Dawson. I was listening to your jams today. I listen to your jams almost every day. Some good damn jams. Barry Prosser, question, good sir. Are you thinking of releasing more drum loops? Yes, Barry Prosser. I'm doing a library of Foreigns drum loops. I'm going to try and do it even a little better this time, where all the MIDI will be available separate as well, but it might only be for TuneTrack. But then I might also release a drum map to Steven Slate drums. Not exactly sure. Barry, if you could answer, what do you use, TuneTrack or Steven Slate drums? That it would be very helpful. But yes, all Foreigns loops this next pack. And same thing, there will be a Foreigns session where you can just grab the drum loops and reorder them and make your own drum performances out of it. Or maybe this one also, it'll just be raw MIDI. So no matter what DAW you use, you can just grab the raw MIDI and use it. Not too sure. But yeah, if you could help me out there, Barry, what drum program are you using? Because I was thinking of only going with TuneTrack this time and let people figure out how to do the map. Maybe provide the drum map to convert the TuneTrack mixer to the SSD mixer. Barry, easy drummer. Great. Yeah, so it'll be for sure available for TuneTrack, all TuneTrack drum programs. It will work. So Easy Drummer 2, and Superior Drummer. Just be the MIDI and the mapping information. It'll be locked solid. Stoked you dig it. I dug putting that together, and it's interesting now when I work on Wetlands stuff, it's so sick to just open a session and all the blocks of the drums are just there and I can sketch something out really quick. So in a way, setting this up as like people were interested in getting those kinds of resources, they're like, oh, can we get those kinds of resources? Because, it's hard to find. I'm like, yeah. And I inadvertently ending up with a better system for myself creatively, which is so sick. Connor, death compels you to live. It does, not that I'm not an Apple guy, by the way, but I'm going to bring up a Steve Jobs thing. And, I'm talking about a lot about Apple today. I like PC. I love Windows 10. People think I'm crazy. Some Apple people think I'm crazy for loving Windows 10. I love it. I love Mac OS too. I just like computers. And I especially like when they work well. As does everyone. But Steve Jobs had this amazing quote. I could be wrong actually, but in my mind, it was Steve Jobs who was talking about it. It's not even a quote, but he was diagnosed with some kind of terminal illness. I believe it was maybe cancer. And he was like, yeah, it just put like life in perspective for me. And he ended up living well beyond his sort of diagnosis of, when he was going to, how long he had to live. So he went many years beyond the initial diagnosis, but he's on record saying like it put into, perspective that it wasn't about dying. It was about living, like spending his time alive in the most, meaningful way possible. So everything became more valuable to him. His family, his relationships, his work. He became more passionate about his work and all that kind of stuff because he knew that it was suddenly in front of him. It's like, I only have so long to live. Death compels you to live. Yes, at least for me, that is the case. So yeah. And for Miles and for Nick Hill and for Stephen Barton, death compels you to live. Amazing. Self-Inflatable says, Gospel Drums in Easy Drummer came out this week. Yes, I was checking that out. And I love, gospel drumming and gospel drum tones is my thing. I'm so into it. So yeah, for anyone else who's into that gospel sound, the new gospel kit in Easy Drummer 2 looks very promising. I I believe it's also in Superior Drummer. Maybe not. I'm not exactly sure. But I kind of left Superior Drummer. I'm like, Easy Drummer 2 is so good that I don't care about Superior Drummer anymore. And yeah, I just use Easy Drummer 2 now. That's it. It's like super good. But yeah, a gospel kit came out, and I love that gospel sound. I'm not a religious guy. I just love gospel drummers and gospel drum sounds. That's just the way it goes. The tone of the Lord. Tyler Adams, Honey Death. Yeah, we could put some honey in there for sure. Baritone Cult, Ryan Flam. Yeah, man, you got it. Bunch of good dudes here. Oh yeah. Baritone Cult is definitely at the helm of also spreading the Stoke. Baritone Cult channel, by the way, another Stoke channel on the internet. Barry Prosser says it's a really helpful template and sounds amazing, dude. Thanks again for doing that. So for those of you who don't know, thank you, Barry. The whole idea was to try and make it easier for folks at a very, 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 very low cost. And it is working for some people, and I'm super stoked about that. To understand what we're talking about, the Bunn. The link is in my description of this video and all of my videos, but I'll put it in here. Sludge tones, BUNNSONICS, Wetlands, drum session, and MIDI. So especially if you're a Reaper user, the MIDI is in this thing, is in this file. You can find it if you don't use Reaper, but if you use Reaper, it's just a full session. And you can just drag MIDI blocks of drums. It's already kind of pre-mixed and everything, so you can kind of get going really fast. And if you do the sort of sludgy kind of stuff like I'm doing with Wetlands and whatnot, there's not a lot of grooves like that out there. So it's all those kinds of grooves, and it's really easy, and it's $5. And if you're into that and you want some drum resources for that kind of stuff and you're in Reaper, it's an easy way to kind of get going. That's the link there that Barry and I are talking about. Drums are a pain in the butt for a lot of people. Even a pain in the butt for me. But I am a drummer, or I was a drummer. I haven't played for quite a few years, like 5 years. So I'm not as good as I once was. Apoplexy says, Windows 10 is a lot better than my previous experience with Windows, which was XP. I need for work for a particular modeling and laser engraving program, and Windows 10 works great. Yeah, I love Windows 10. I was a huge user of Windows XP then, and I had Windows XP Service Pack 3 really dialed in, and I liked XP. I never had a problem with it. People would complain about it all the time. I'm like, you just need to know how to dial it in, and that's the thing. I knew how to dial it in, so I had a great experience with XP. And then there was something right after XP that was kind of funny. Vista, maybe it was. I'm not sure. But Windows 7, whenever Windows 7 came out, I was like, this is solid as well. And I loved Windows 7. And same thing. I had it so refined, like it was such a perfect machine. And I ran that forever. And sometimes like at the same time as having a Mac, like also on Mac OS. When I was on XP, I was also on Mac OS 7, like pre-Mac OS 10. And that was my studio machine. It was great. I don't know. I just love things that work really well. But I also like to tinker, and some things require you to tinker quite a bit. So with Windows, traditionally, what I like about Windows 10 is you still have to tinker a bit, but you can get up to speed with a high performance OS a lot quicker than you used to with like Windows 7 and Windows XP Service Pack 3. So yeah, Windows, totally a good product, especially if you know what you're doing. I think where people go wrong is people who don't want to spend time to know how to use it, which is valid. They're like, I don't have time for that. I just need something that works. And that is 100% legit. The first Apple product was $666. Taking a bite out of the forbidden technology. Yeah. Because the logo is the Garden of Eden, the forbidden fruit, which is really funny. OS X interface. Yeah. OS 10 is a beautiful interface, especially now. Big Sur, something I really, really appreciate is dark mode everywhere. Even in things that typically don't default to dark mode. And I really don't like the blinding white background. If you spend a lot of time in front of a computer and a lot of stuff is white light, especially with the new HD, like the new 4K displays and all that kind of stuff, OLED or QL, I don't know, the amazing new technology in the displays, it kills the eyes. So dark mode is really important to me now, especially, and Mac OS X has amazing support for very easy dark mode across everything. And that's great. I don't know. Like, I still love Windows. Whatchamacallit? Self-Inflatable says, that was supposed to say those gospel drums sounded a little less bright attacky than expected them to, but still interested. Yeah, I think the way they're going about, so we're talking about TuneTrack products. TuneTrack just released a new kit today or this week, gospel kit. And I really love the gospel sound. Typically, I think where TuneTrack is going with releasing kits now is a little bit more neutral, so that you have a little bit more latitude to kind of move the drum sounds around a little bit with a little bit more EQ and processing. Something I really love about Drum Kit from Hell is that it's kind of that that gospel kind of drum sound. But it requires so little EQ. And the cymbals, how do you find the cymbals, Self-Inflatable, for the new gospel kit? A little bit duller than expected. Hey, I'm going to guess. It's kind of, I feel like it's okay though. There's enough tone there that you can EQ it, rather than with the Drum Kit from Hell. If you EQ it, it kind of breaks quick. But I love the sound of the DFH kit still. Barry Processor says Windows Vista was not good, and I agree. Vista was very bad. Windows, what was it? The one that was trying to kind of bridge the gap between mobile devices, that was not very good either. It was in between Windows 7 and Windows 10. Good effort on them, but it didn't work. Baritone Cult says his new drummer built a PC. It's insane. 64 gig, liquid cooled, all of that, cheaper than an Apple. Like what? He spent like, did he do it for $800? Because like the new Apples are like $800. I know you can build PCs pretty cheap. But I feel like to build a crushing PC, you got to still spend about, $2,000. But I don't know. PC is still good. Oh my God. Yes. Thankful for dark mode everywhere. Yes. Aaron Dawson. Yeah. Dark mode. Turn it on. Kendall says, what do you recommend for something that's brand new, someone that's brand new to recording? Don't even know how to use GarageBand. So in terms of a platform, once again, I'm not an Apple-centric person, but I will say if you're on Apple already, that's great. If you have to start at the very beginning and get a machine, Apple might be a better thing, because one of the things about Apple is on a hardware level, it usually just works. You just plug things in and it just works. There's not a lot of setting up the peripherals or anything like that. It requires less drivers and all that. So that's a benefit. However, if you know a little bit about computers already, it doesn't matter. And you can work with a Windows machine and it'll probably just work. A lot of the new Windows stuff is quite good, but some people still have some problems. And then in terms of a recording software, you know, I'm a big Reaper advocate, not because some people have a hard time with Reaper. They find it very technical. I'm not sure why, because a DAW is a DAW is a DAW. You know, it's faders. It's a record and edit window. You record the media into the edit window. You chop it up. It has faders. It has a pan. It has a solo. Has a mute. Every DAW has that. Even Audacity has that. Audacity just doesn't have very good support for effects. Audacity is a freeware kind of open source DAW. Very, very simple. GarageBand is very simple to use. I think GarageBand is a great. I know people who have made records, like legit records with GarageBand. There's no reason why you can't use GarageBand. It's very simple. It might be the easiest way to get acquainted with the environment and then expand outward from there. And, you know, if you're on an Apple product, you can use GarageBand. If you're not on Apple, GarageBand is not an option. But Reaper is very inexpensive, $60 for a license. They have an infinite trial. You can just use the trial forever. You have to go through the annoying initial prompt. But I have purchased that $60 license, I don't know, 20, 30 times. I'm like, Reaper, please keep making good stuff. Is Reaper the best DAW in the world? It's not. There's a lot of great DAWs in the world. They all function on a similar platform. Like, the manner of the workflow, the inner workings may be more or less complex depending on the intent of the workflow or what the platform attempts to solve. I like Reaper because its initial thing is very, very simple. To me, it's just a DAW. It's just like faders, an edit window, basic parameters. You can load VSTs and all of that. You can load effects all you want. But Reaper can get unbelievably complex where you can actually develop scripts to expand upon the functions of Reaper and all of this sort of stuff. You can get more complex with Reaper than any other platform on earth because it has this sort of developer component to it that is open to you as the user. And sometimes if you come up with things that are really, really good, the Reaper community will be like, that's really good. Can we add it to Reaper? And sometimes it happens. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think, so Kendall, maybe share what it is you want to do. Like the scenario. I'm a guitar player. I want to sit at my desk in front of my computer with my guitar and I want to record a riff. I want to record the riff to a drum beat, or maybe I want to learn how to record a riff and design some drums around the riff. And I want to go all the way to a final recording that I can share on the internet, or I just want to use it to kind of learn about these things, or I just want it to catalog my ideas. Give me a scenario and maybe myself, and as well as the rest of the gang here, can help you out. People are already helping you out because they're amazing. Night dudes, Keith Body, be well, man. I hope all is rad. Baritone call Bunn. He's a PC user. Only me. I'm Apple. I think it's cool. If you're into building PCs, then cool. For me, Apple is simple, kind of. Yeah, it's all good, man. Like I keep saying over and over again, like if you have a tool that satisfies your needs, it doesn't get any better than that. And I'm not Apple or Windows. I just currently I'm really floored with what Apple is doing because it's so innovative. They tend to do some great innovations time and time again, but innovation happens everywhere. in Windows and on PC as well. AMD is a very innovative platform. Processors and GPUs and all that kind of stuff. Connor says Billie Eilish. Not sure in regards to what, but Billie Eilish is pretty badass. Of all the pop stuff that's going on, I think Billie and her brother are just killing it. Cosman says Reaper's resource level is awesome too. Think it might be more efficient code. Yeah, so Reaper, one thing they don't have is a whole bunch of security to keep it from piracy. Reaper is like, we want it to spread. We want people to use Reaper. We want people to try Reaper. We make it really easy for them to try it. If they don't want to buy it, they can keep using the trial, but we're going to keep reminding them that the cost is low and, you know, please help us. And they go about it in a different way. So they don't have all the encryption. If you notice, like a version of Pro Tools and a version of Reaper, they both offer very similar functionality, but a version of Pro Tools, I'm not beating up Pro Tools, it's just a great comparison. Pro Tools is like gigs upon gigs. And a lot of that is encryption. And Reaper is like, what, 14 megs? It might be like 16 megs now. It's a tiny program. It downloads in literally like under a minute. So yes, it's a very light program. And that's another thing I appreciate about Reaper. It is incredibly light. It doesn't have any fluff in it. You can add as much fluff to it as you want. You can customize it as much as you like. Especially if you're an incredibly advanced user. It is unbelievably customizable, but it doesn't make any assumptions off the hop that it needs to shortcut anything for anyone. It's just like, here's a raw, lean machine and go for it. And I appreciate that about it. Because it is raw and lean. It doesn't use extra resources. It's very fast. The workflow for me is very advantageous. It's not advantageous for everyone. For some people, it gets in their way. So that's a thing. Holy jumping. It's 11:30. We keep going. I'm going to have to shut it down, dudes. I can talk forever. A little bit of Aspie. My Aspie's coming out. But dealing with Kendall, yes. To end off on that, you just want to do it yourself. Yeah. If you have an Apple machine, start with GarageBand. It's a great, like, just primer. It's very easy. You don't have to think too much. You're going to have to learn stuff. But I can tell you this, if you just keep showing up, you will learn stuff. And especially if you have an interest in it. Being patient, being like, I don't know this. I'm willing to learn it. I'm willing to suck at the beginning because I know if I'm willing to suck and just suck it up, I will make progress. So if you join the Discord, we're not going to be sharing the Discord much anymore. But if you join the Discord, there are a lot of people there that can help you along. I share resources for recording that may or may not be helpful in the future. But a lot of smart people in the Discord, the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group also, although it is more guitar centric, there is some recording talk that goes on there, but definitely the, whatchamacallit, in the Bandless Facebook or Discord, there is a lot of talk about production, recording from a very novice perspective to a very advanced perspective. And people will never talk down to you. People welcome the novice because it's exciting to learn. So if you want to hang out there, that's the link. I hope you get stoked on it and get going because, yeah, recording's not that hard, but some things at the beginning can be frustrating. Mark Bark, I see you in there. I'm going to shut it down, but what's up, on? Good to see you again. Hear your thoughts on the M1 processor and your video on it. Sent you an email via your site. Awesome. Mark Bark, I am just, as of today, gone fully officially, like no more day job at all. I'm not training anyone, anything. And just yesterday I started chewing through. The last couple months has been email centric, so I will be looking for that in the next couple days, and you should hear from me probably by Monday at the latest, if your email got through. Thank you for that. Good to see you in the stream. Stoked you're into the M1. Exciting times for computing. It's gonna push everyone to make better things, or more powerful, efficient things, cheaper, lower energy consumption. But I'm gonna sign off here, dudes. Self-inflatable, every Bigsby equipped guitar I own felt like garbage. Yeah, I'm not into the Bigsby. But yeah, I'm gonna shut it down, dudes. I could go on forever. I love these conversations. Good hangs. Like I say, the Discord is open publicly in this link. It's good for 24 hours. If you want to join and hang out. I'm not there all the time, but I usually have it open while I'm working because it is unobtrusive. It's not as interruptive as, say, typical social media. So I can hang out in Discord while I'm working typically. So it would be great to see you there. But everybody who is there is great and helpful and sharing and being stoked and egging each other on. And that's the whole point of it. So if that's a thing you're into, hang out. Nick Hill is part of it. His live stream is tomorrow night, 9 p.m. CT. Hope to see you there. I'll be hanging out in that stream. I'll be double duty with my hanging with my GF and hanging with the Nick Hill. Thank you to everyone for the stickers and whatnot. Thanks to everyone with me at Patreon and YouTube memberships. If you'd like to help the Bunn out in any way, all of those ways are a way to do it. There are links in the description to assets and resources and merch and music and all of these things if you want to help things along. But I'm going to, get out of here. I got a little outro kind of thing planned. I don't know if it's going to work. So bear with me. Let's see. How's it going to work? So I'm going to sign out here and have an amazing night. Always awesome to hang out. And yeah, love you guys. Be well, create stuff, crush the riffs, and we'll see you in the next one. Nick Hill stream tomorrow night.